Welcome to FRCMedia News for Thursday, January 14th, 2021. I'm Keith Tebow. This week, rising COVID cases in Fall River has led local schools to remain primarily in a remote learning environment. First responders begin receiving the COVID vaccine. Fall River's two congressmen weigh in on impeachment and what the future holds under the Biden administration. Plans move forward on restoring St. Anne's Church, and we preview a different-looking Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration at Bristol Community College. All that and more coming up. It's been another tough week in Greater Fall River as the number of new COVID-19 infections continue to cause concern. That has led to the announcement this week that most students in the Fall River Public Schools will remain in a remote learning environment, likely through February. At a school committee meeting this week, Superintendent Matthew Malone said the recent surge of COVID-19 cases in Fall River has caused him to amend his decision made last month to return to the full hybrid model of learning for grades K through 8 on January 19th and those at the high school on February 1st. He said with prospects of a wider vaccine rollout next month, it may make it safe for students to return to the full hybrid model on March 1st.
So where we are right now in the modified hybrid, we have consistency of instruction. Technologically, it's working. The engagement rates have been high, and student attendance is actually higher than it was in the past. So if we stay in the current modified hybrid model through the next 6 weeks, that's what we're talking. It's 6 weeks, 6 instructional weeks. The likelihood of us getting the vaccine rolled out is strong. I've spoken with the mayor, and I know they're working with the state and the federal government on that. The likelihood of us continuing to sustain the consistency of instruction is strong, and us continuing to do what we've done, maintaining the safety of the 1,400 students that we have, we can continue to do.
Dr. Malone said his decision was made to give parents enough notice to make arrangements for their children to continue to learn remotely. He added that if the infection rates decrease by the school committee's next meeting on February 8th, it is possible students could return to the full hybrid model earlier.
Now, granted, if the data changes and we get to, all of a sudden it drops and we go down, I got a meeting coming up on February 8th. I can talk to the committee about coming back earlier than that. But I would be dishonest if I said to you, we're going to go week by week and just wing it. I think parents need a consistent date. I think we need, as educators, our teachers, our faculty and staff need to know that as well. And of course, the students do. And I want to get these guys back. We all know that connectivity is the lifeblood of development. And, we want to get back to a place where I can get students back to start in the full hybrid. And then hopefully, as things really get better, we get back into 3-foot distancing and I get everyone back at some point before the end of the year. Now, that would be the goal.
Also this week, the school committee made amendments to Superintendent Malone's contract following an internal investigation into allegations of inappropriate and harassing remarks made to school department staff. The story was first reported this week by the Herald News. Changes in the superintendent's contract alters his compensation package and also adds language allowing him to be terminated without cause under, quote, certain circumstances. Specific details as to the changes in compensation were not immediately made known to the Herald News. Now, following the executive session this week to discuss the amended contract, committee members Kevin Aguiar and Paul Hart came out as the only members to vote against the changes.
The school committee received multiple complaints in early September. At the time, it was my opinion, and it continues to be my opinion today, that we owed it to our more than 1,600 employees to follow standard operating procedures on how to proceed in these situations. The procedures we have followed in the Fall River Public Schools in the past have been to place the employee on paid leave pending an investigation. That would include hearing directly from individuals on both sides of the complaint in order to fully determine the scope of the issues and to determine an appropriate action. A due process hearing would have been held, and a disciplinary decision could be made. Unfortunately, the votes were not there for that, to have a hearing and to hear from our employees directly. Here we are 4 months later. I'm disheartened by this situation. I'm disappointed in the judgment shown by the superintendent, and I cannot support this amended contract language as the consequence.
This is not the kind of meeting I enjoy, but it's my job, and I'm elected by the people of Fall River to do my job. I'm extremely upset, disheartened regarding the choices and the judgment exhibited by the superintendent, and because of that, I will not be supporting this contract. Thank you.
Voting to approve the changes were committee members Mark Costa, Tom Corey, Joshua Hetzler, and Mimi Larrabee. Mayor Paul Coogan, who was chair of the school committee, did not vote on the matter, recusing himself following a state ethics commission opinion.
In my case, my brother, who is an 18-year employee in the school department, brought in by a former superintendent. I was not involved with his hiring or anything. I was only a vice principal at the time, and I don't have any sway at the ad building. He became the director of human resources. The vote that they were talking about was personnel related, and since my brother is directly supervised by the superintendent, there's no buffer in between my brother and the superintendent. In the other cases of the people that are in the school working and the school committee, there's a vice principal, there's a department head, there's a principal, there's layers of people that are responsible for those individuals. But in my unique case, my brother is directly supervised by the superintendent. So anything that may impact his position or a raise or a promotion or his firing or anything, I have to recuse myself.
How will this impact the future of the superintendent in Fall River? Mayor Coogan says that one incident should not impact Dr. Malone's future here in Fall River.
As you would with any individual that works for a company or a city or anything, you look at the whole picture. I believe this situation obviously did not put the superintendent in a good light. And when you're in an organization with this many employees, it may affect leadership down the road. We'll see how it plays out. Obviously, the committee that was left to decide the conditions that the superintendent will be working under thought he could recover and do a good job for the city of Fall River. I'm a strong believer in people giving people a second chance. And as I said, I was not a party to all the discussions and all the specifics of the allegations. So the people that thought he could continue in that role had the facts in front of them, and they made the best decision on the table.
Updates now on the pandemic. Beginning Saturday, Fall River will have a new location for residents to get free COVID-19 tests. CIC Health will be administering tests at Bristol Community College. The tests, which are part of the state Stop the Spread initiative, will be available by appointment only and will be a drive-up operation. Testing at Star and Seven Hills Behavioral Health will no longer be available beginning on Saturday. 200 first responders in Fall River began receiving the COVID-19 vaccine this week at a clinic set up at Bristol Community College. Health Department Director Tess Curran says the process has been a smooth one, with those in this week will be back the week of February 8th to receive their second dose.
We're following the vaccine timeline that's been outlined to us by the state. So right now we're in the kind of the third bullet of phase 1. That's where first responders fall. The next cohort is congregate care and homeless shelters, then home health aides, and then non-COVID facing healthcare workers. So we're following the state guidelines in terms of who's getting the vaccine and when. Right now, we're in the planning stages of trying to roll out, mass vaccination clinics for our Fall River residents. We have a task force of EMS, fire, police, and individuals within the health department and the administration who are working on facilitating those plans so that we can be a site for vaccinations for our residents.
South Coast Health which operates Charlton Memorial Hospital in Fall River, is staying ahead of the surge of COVID-19 infections. Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer Renee Clark, who serves as head of the hospital group's COVID Command Center, says having dealt with the pandemic since last March has prepared it for the influx of new COVID cases. She says even though COVID hospitalizations are up, local hospitals continue to have the capacity to serve all patients.
Our facilities are full with both types of patients, and we cohort them, again, as a safeguard, et cetera. But, we still have a good number, if you will, or a larger number of patients that are seeking care either for COVID or not. And we're able to care for both of them. I will say there are times, certainly, when we don't have enough bed capacity and it takes a little bit longer to get those patients into a bed, or we look to our community partners again to see if they have bed availability and we might be able to transfer. So we're very lucky to be in Region 5 with other Southeastern Mass hospital facilities. We meet daily. That's organized at the state level. And we talk about, where everybody is with bed capacity, who's waiting for a bed, and then we're able to help each other when we need to.
Ms. Clark says as COVID cases are on the rise due to community spread, concerns have arisen to the health and safety of the dedicated frontline clinical workers at each South Coast medical facility. The good news, Ms. Clark says, is many of those healthcare professionals have received the COVID-19 vaccine.
We have about 7,500 employees at South Coast, and per the state's guidance, we're really trying to follow that really well. But per their guidance, you're supposed to be providing vaccinations to folks that are really on the front lines or patient facing. And we've done that. We've now given over 4,000 doses, first dose to employees. And I think we've got them covered, those folks that meet that criteria in that first dose wave. And now we've started with our second dose, a few weeks later. And we've got about 1,600 or so folks that now are completely vaccinated. So that work continues. We've also started looking outside the organization at other providers, clinical providers that are patient-facing again, that don't have any other connection that might allow them to get a vaccine. And we're beginning to invite those folks into the organization to also become vaccinated.
Congressman Jake Auchincloss and William Keating, both who serve Fall River, voted this week in favor of impeaching President Donald Trump. Congressman Auchincloss was one of many House members to state his case for impeachment on the House floor.
Madam Chair, a mob desecrated our Capitol, killed a police officer, and attempted to overthrow our government on the orders of the President of the United States. Immediate impeachment is our duty under a Constitution that compels us to defend against enemies, foreign and domestic. As a Marine officer, I defended our democracy from foreign enemies. As a member of Congress, I am solemnly resolved to defend it from domestic ones. With this vote, we strike a blow for moral leadership.
Both congressmen feel that once President-elect Joe Biden is inaugurated, the focus in Washington will shift to meeting the needs of the American people, specifically handling the COVID-19 pandemic. Congressman Keating says more must be done to overcome the lapses in combating the virus from the Trump administration.
What we had was an emergency lifeline in this latest package, dealing with the people that are unemployed, trying to help them in their lives, dealing with small businesses by expanding the Paycheck Protection Program, dealing with the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry, targeting many of the things they have to look at, and making sure that there's more money for testing and distribution to the states so that they can get the vaccines out. Those are among the things that were in this package, dealing with eviction problems. Those were the lifeline issues. If we're going to really be effective in dealing with this vaccine, we have to intensify our research even more. We have to make sure that we are tracing the effects of this. There's so much about this infection that we still don't know and we're still learning about.
Congressman Auchincloss added that economic recovery from the pandemic will hinge on aid to individuals, businesses, and state and local governments.
The best stimulus for the economy is vaccinations, because that's going to allow us to truly restart the economy. Once President-elect Biden swears in and is able to get to work, I think it's absolutely appropriate that we evaluate where we're at economically, where we're at from a public health perspective, and then decide what level of further relief makes sense. I know that one critical priority is going to be state and local government relief. State and local governments have had to dip into their rainy day funds, over the last year to make ends meet. Those rainy day funds are one-time uses, of course. And this next fiscal year is going to be even harder than the last one. They need support, because we cannot get to the other side of this pandemic and then realize that we're cutting essential services because states and local governments have had to carry the bag. So they're certainly going to need help.
Along with making recovery from the pandemic a priority, Congressman Keating believes investment should also be made with an eye toward job growth.
We have also neglected for decades our infrastructure, and we've fallen behind other countries economically, educationally, socially, not having an infrastructure that competes with even third world countries in some instances. So we have a chance to go forward on that, this enormous necessity that's been really indicated as the number one priority by so many businesses, and at the same time use it for massive recovery of our economy economically. The two things are coinciding. So I'm looking for a robust, historic in size, historic in the type of infrastructure, broadband, modern technology that we're going to put forward that's going to drive our economy and make our lives better. And it's akin to those people that want to look back in history. I think Dwight Eisenhower reworking the federal highway system, although these will be modern systems.
Congressman Auchincloss says his committee roles focusing on state and local infrastructure and housing will provide immediate support for his diverse district.
How do we build an economy that's working for everybody? This district is a district that is a microcosm of many of the socioeconomic inequities in this country, where people are, in some parts, are locked out of opportunity, are locked out of access to good jobs, and some cities are locked out of access to good economic development opportunities because of lack of infrastructure. And my work, both in Washington, D.C. and in district, is going to be about how do we create good jobs and how do we create the physical and socioeconomic infrastructure for everyone to have opportunity: childcare, early education, transit, bus lanes. These are things that create economic development and opportunity for everybody. And that's everything I do on these two committees is going to be about building an economy that's working for the whole district.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Assistant Property Manager. Peabody Properties, located at 620 North Main Street, is looking for a full-time assistant property manager responsible for coordinating the community's marketing, leasing, and renewal strategies. Job number 144-21664. Warehouse Associate. Anderson Corporation, located at 16 Current Road, is in need of a full-time warehouse associate responsible for receiving inbound material and stocking shelves to maintain the flow of the business and inventory accuracy. Job number 144-18166. Professional Dog Walker. Furry Fellas Pet Service is seeking a full-time professional dog walker to visit clients' homes in the Fall River area to care for their pets while they are at work or on vacation. Job number 143-94128. Bristol Community College, located at 777 Aylesbury Street, is in need of the following full and part-time positions. Laboratory Technician, job number 144-23276. Healthcare Counselor, job number 144-23297. St. Anne's Hospital, located at 795 Middle Street, is in need of the following full and part-time positions. EKG Technician, job number 144-15047. Occupational therapy assistant, job number 144-14957. For more information on these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. St. Anne's Church in the city's South End recently celebrated its 125th anniversary. Efforts continue to restore the building, with the upper church closed in 2015 and the parish closed in 2018 when the Diocese of Fall River could no longer financially support its operation. Since then, a group of volunteers has taken over operation of the church, charged with raising funds for its restoration. Correspondent Brian Fraga spoke with St. Anne's Preservation Society Vice President Robert Govin on the progress.
We're at a point now where the way we've been raising money, COVID has hurt us raising money, but we will probably be ready to start repairing the roof in late summer, early fall. We obviously can't do it in the winter. And once we stop the water from coming in, then maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, we'll have enough money to fix the walls that have been damaged by the water coming in through the roof. And then once we have that done and we get it inspected by the City of Fall River, we should be in a situation where we can reopen the upper church.
Even through the pandemic, masses have been held at the shrine, which is open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. For the 21st consecutive year, Bristol Community College will celebrate the life and teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on the celebration of his birth this Monday, January 18th. Due to COVID constraints, this year's event will be held virtually. Bristol has traditionally held a community breakfast to celebrate Dr. King, but will not be able to do so due to limitations on personal gatherings posed by the pandemic. Bristol Director of Multicultural Affairs Rob Delalue says that this year's virtual event will include many of the same elements of the past, including remarks from a keynote speaker and a series of virtual workshops focused on community service.
Our keynote speaker is Dr. David E. Jones. His theme that we're speaking about is service and social justice. Well, how service can impact social justice. So our one key workshop will be on the focus of that. And so what would happen is after the keynote, they will have an opportunity to go into these virtual workshops where we're talking about how you can provide service in order to impact social justice. For instance, next semester at Bristol, we are going to host social justice forums that will focus on the impact of the Black, African American, and Hispanic male populations and how we can better serve them in order for them to be successful within the classroom and outside the classroom in our region and area. So this is something that is extremely important, and a lot of our workshops will focus on it. We also will have a MLK reading workshop, and we also have resources that will be provided for our live audience who can kind of click on them and see how they can donate things, how they can, participate in service, and then also what they can do throughout the course of the year, not just for that day, although it is a National Day of Service on MLK Day. We wanted to provide opportunities for people to see, well, how can they impact and help? Because a lot of times we just don't know what to do. So this is a great opportunity to give us that to give people that pathway in order to help and provide for our community.
Finally, this week, Fall River Public Library children's librarian David Mello tells us about a new series of activity geared to children interested in learning magic.
The Fall River Public Library is very excited about our newest program here, our Mystery Magic Trick series. Every week, starting Monday, January 11th, the library will offer children ages 4 and up a different mystery magic trick that they can learn at home to dazzle their family and friends. Each kit will contain a different trick, and it will also contain information to perform other tricks using simple things that you can find around your house. Also, there will be a list of different books, titles about magic that you can check out from the library to learn more tricks yourself. But most important is the magic trick that you will receive. And with the first trick, starting on Monday, you will get a magic wand. What's a magician without their magic wand? And now, let me demonstrate for you the magic disappearing ball. Okay, here we go. Here we have our magic cup. Inside, there is a little white ball. I'm going to take that ball out of the cup. I am going to put it into my pocket, and I am going to cover the cup with the cover. I take my magic wand, say the magic words, you can say them along with me, abracadabra. Okay, there should be no ball in there, right? Well, let's check and see. How did I do it? So if you want to find out how I did this magic trick, come to the library and get your own mystery magic trick. And we'd like to thank Richard and Debbie Danner, the sponsors of this wonderful program.
We'll wrap up FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Allie with us. She is about 2 years old. She is a great cat. Her only downfall is she doesn't like other animals, so she would have to be the only animal in the house. She doesn't get along with other cats. She is a social eater. I mean, she will eat on her own too, but especially if somebody's around, that's how she likes to show off. She's really big on really soft, fuzzy blankets. She likes to just curl up in them and make dough and just to lounge out in it. And she is a beautiful cat too. So if you want to come down and meet Allie, we are located at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts. I know she would definitely love to meet you.
Today we have Copa. Copa is a 6-month-old pit bull puppy. As you can see, he has a lot of energy and he loves his toys. Yeah, he's a big guy for only 6 months. You know, so he could be a lot to handle for someone. You know, Copa's definitely going to need some obedience training. Someone who's very active with a lot of energy is going to be a good fit for Copa. Maybe someone who likes to go running or hiking. Copa's definitely not going to be the couch potato type dog. Because of his energy level, you know, we're going to say no kids, no cats, and probably no other dogs either. He's just a little too much. If you are an active person looking for an adventure companion, head over to foreverpaws.com, fill out an application, and once it's approved, come on down to 300 Linwood Street and check out Copa.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please check out our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next Thursday.